Hello guys, welcome to another video. So today I'm going to take you through how to shift your identity, how to shift your limiting beliefs, your values, everything that's keeping you stuck, everything that's stopping you from moving to your next level, how you can't act and it's very difficult to act out of alignment with your identity, how to shift your identity into someone that you want to become. So let's just say that you want to become someone who's shy to confident, or from feeling like a failure to feeling successful. Whatever you want your identity to be, someone who's chaotic to calm, I don't care what it is. I'm going to teach you the principles of how to shift that identity, and we're going to get started. So if you want to get a pen and paper out and you want to make notes, you can. If you just want to simply watch, then you also can. Okay, so here's you, right? My name is KTK, and this person here, so you will have a set of beliefs. Now we have both limiting beliefs and empowering beliefs. So your limiting beliefs could be something like I'm boring, could be something like I'm not good enough. And some of these beliefs you'll be aware of, some of them you won't be aware of, and they'll come up in different points of your life. You could have a belief I'm unloved or unlovable or hard to love, something like that. You could have a belief of I can't handle it. So if you get overwhelmed sometimes, it's usually a belief that's driving that overwhelm, the fact that you can't handle how much you have to do. You could also have a belief that I'm not attractive. There are so many beliefs that you can have. You could have a belief that you're behind. So no matter how hard you work, you will always find people who are ahead of you, making you feel like you are behind. You'll always put too much on your to-do list, making you feel like you are behind. So you have a set of beliefs. Now your beliefs drive what you do and don't do. Now you will always act, so you'll always behave in accordance to your beliefs, because your beliefs create your thoughts. So if you have a belief that you're not good enough, it will elicit thoughts. So it'll create a thought. So it goes that way. Create a thought that you can't do it. What's the point? People won't like you. People don't want you, whatever it is. That will create a feeling. So maybe like fear. And then when you have fear, you will do anything to avoid that feeling. Because remember, we don't like to feel the fear because that's confirming the belief. So you will do something like avoidance. So you'll procrastinate. You'll put things off, you'll plan, you'll try and make things perfect. Okay, so your beliefs create your thoughts, create your feelings, create a behavior. You either act or you don't act. So that's that. Let's just say that you believe you're behind. So belief, yeah, a lot of people have this belief, I'm behind. You'll hear it a lot of time. I always feel behind. And notice the word I feel behind. That means it's a feeling, not a fact, right? It doesn't mean you are inherently behind. So that belief gets triggered. So there'll be a set of scenarios at which that belief gets triggered. So let's just say that you compare to someone who's ahead. You write too many things on your to-do list. Sorry, I'm left-handed. And you leave things till last minute. You're a last minute person. And that's your identity, because you always feel like you are behind. So you'll have these triggers, right? And this triggers subconsciously this belief. Now this belief gets triggered and it will create thoughts of I have so much to do. I'm just going to put one thought down. So much to do. So it'll create your thought, it'll create your focus. It will create what you focus on. So you will focus on how much you have to do. You will focus on all the people who are ahead of you. You'll focus on how little time you have. So you'll look at the clock, like you will literally physically find things to focus on that make this belief feel true. That gives you this feeling of, let's just say, panic. Could be like a rush feeling, whatever that feeling is for you. And then you'll behave that if that feeling is too strong, you might completely avoid, which will leave you feeling even more behind. But you also could go the other way where you overwork. Okay. Then what happens is you burn out. And what happens when you burn out? You scroll or you procrastinate. And then what happens? You feel behind. So this whole cycle here is making this belief feel true, okay? It's making this belief feel true. So let's just do like one more example with this, and then we're going to move on to something pretty cool that I'm going to teach you. Okay. Whoop. Nah. Okay. So belief, let's choose one. Which one do you want to choose? Which one should we choose? I'm unloved, or I'm behind, or I'm not attractive. I can't handle it. Okay, let's do I can't handle it. Now, this is a belief running the show subconsciously. This is a belief that creates thoughts of it's too much. Yeah. Remember, what you focus on is what you feel. So if your thoughts are it's too much, your reticular activating system is going to be looking for evidence that it's too much. So it's going to be looking at your long to-do list and going, oh my God, there's so much to do. It's going to be looking at the clock and going, oh my gosh, we have like 2 hours left until we have to leave and we can't get it all done. Okay. And then what that does is it creates a feeling of overwhelm. So now overwhelm is your primary emotion that's running the show. So when overwhelm comes in, what I see people do is go into avoidance mode, because when you feel overwhelmed, you feel like you can't handle it, and therefore you have to act, you have to behave. Remember, this is the behavior, that you have to behave in accordance to what you believe. So you will avoid, so you'll shut down, you will go and scroll, you will go and do it, because that confirms this cycle, this belief. So what happens when we break that belief? Let's just say we go to I can handle it as a belief. So let's just say that you're getting really busy, you're growing, everything's busy, and you have this belief deep down that you can handle it. You'll have a thought like, your natural subconscious thought will be, okay, I'll do this first. Now, when you have that thought, you feel calm because you're handling it. When you feel calm, you take action, yeah? And then you are handling it. That equals handling it, yeah? And that confirms this cycle. So whatever you believe, it creates a cycle, and this cycle, this pattern, we call this a pattern. So you can have helpful patterns or you can have unhelpful patterns. We call it a pattern, and this is keeping this belief feeling true and it's strengthening it. Okay, so to break the pattern, we obviously need to break the belief at the bottom. So if you find yourself repeating the same patterns over and over again, a pattern is a pattern of behavior, thoughts, beliefs. I like to call it that pattern that we've just seen. If you find yourself repeating a pattern over and over again, it's because typically there is a belief driving the pattern. Now, again, the rule, we always act in accordance to what we believe to be true. And we often make predictions based on what we believe. So you can predict that your growth is going to feel overwhelming because you believe you can't handle it now. You can predict that people will find, or that guy will find you ugly or unattractive. So you can predict that as a thought because you believe you are unattractive. You can predict that you'll be bored because you believe you are boring. Yeah? Because if you believed you were fun, you would perceive empty space, or you'd perceive any environment as something that can be created as fun. Okay? So if you believe that you're boring, you might predict that empty space or an environment or whatever it is might be boring because you believe that you're boring. Remember, you create the experience you have in an environment, yeah? It's subjective. One person could find sitting in a field boring, one person could find it completely relaxing and fun, reading a book, you know? So you make these predictions. You can also make predictions of what people will think about you, so they'll find you ugly. So how do you know that they're going to find you ugly? You don't know that. That is your thought. Yeah, that's your thought coming from your belief. Okay, I'm going to move on. Now, the interesting thing about that is that if you are thinking that someone finds you unattractive, or someone will judge you for sounding stupid, or someone will judge you for looking dumb, or not being this or not being that, whatever you judge people for, remember that is your prediction coming off your mind. So let's just say that you have 2 people here. Yeah, you have 2 people. And this person has a set of belief that I'm not smart enough. This person can believe that, who do I think I am? Okay, so this person might predict that this person will judge them for sounding stupid. And they might go, oh, they're going to think I sound stupid. I don't know what I'm talking about. Now, this person might predict that this person, so person A, person B, so person A will judge this person for being like arrogant. So this person, because he has a belief of who do I think I am to say that, he predicts that this person will think when he says it that he's arrogant. And when this person speaks out, this person thinks that this person will think he's stupid, yeah? Because they are predicting based on what they believe about themselves. So remember, what you predict about what they will think is in your head. Because how do you know that they're going to think that? Because they have a different set of beliefs. And I want you to remember these rules. Number one, this is about judgment, okay? Write these freaking rules down. This has changed people's lives, okay? We only predict based on what we believe to be true. So I wouldn't predict that someone will call me ugly if I believe that I was attractive. Yeah? I just wouldn't predict that because I don't have the belief. Not everyone, write these down, honestly, stick them on a freaking sticky note. Not everyone has the same belief. So, for example, this person thinks that person A is going to judge him for thinking, who do I think I am? But this person doesn't have a belief of who do I think I am. Yeah? And remember rule one. What's rule one? We only predict based on what we believe to be true. So this person won't even judge this person for that because he doesn't even believe that to be true about ourselves. Remember, we only judge what we believe to be true about ourselves. So we're not actually judging other people, we're judging part of ourselves. Yeah? And number three is that if someone does judge you, that's terrible. Guess what? They're judging themselves. And that is always, always true. They're judging a part of themselves. Remember, this is a part of him. This is a part of him. So they're the rules about judgment. Take a picture, write those down. Okay, let's move on. So, again, when you break those beliefs, you will worry less about what people think. You will act more in accordance to where you want to go. You will feel less heavy emotions that you have to push through, and things will come to you that are more aligned. Now, let's just say that you have a set of values. Now, I want to talk about something really important here where we want to become what we value. So I'm just going to say that, let's just say that you value success. You value fun. I'm just going to go through three. You value freedom, yeah? Let's just say that these are some things that you value. So a value is something that you deem important, okay? Just to put it very simply. It's a quality that you deem to be important. Now, when we value something, when we act in accordance to our values, we feel aligned. We feel maybe happy. We feel maybe proud if it's something to do with like achieving something. We feel joy. We feel all these positive emotions. So the more you can act in accordance to your values, the better you will feel. Now, the problem is when your qualities, or let's just call it identity, doesn't align with your values. So what I mean by this, I'm going to take my time explaining this, okay? So let's just say that you value success, but what you believe about yourself is that you're a failure or you're unsuccessful, okay? Okay. So actually, do you know what? Hold on a minute. I'm just going to grab that. I freaking love this iPad. It's so good. I highly suggest everyone gets one. Okay. So you have your failure and you believe you're a failure, you believe you're unsuccessful. So that belief will create pain, okay? So that pain will drive you to work really hard to prove to yourself, to achieve things, to prove to yourself that you're not a failure, okay? So you'll work really hard and you will earn the money, you will get the house, you will have the team members, whatever it is that you want, whatever your version of success is, okay? You will go on holiday. What should I draw for a holiday? Like a palm tree. Oh, Jesus Christ. That is meant to be a palm tree. So you'll work really hard to get these external things to prove to yourself that you're not a failure, because your limiting belief, who you inherently believe you are without these things, is a failure. And that belief has driven you to work really hard to achieve things to prove that you're not a failure. Because remember, we run away from pain and we run towards pleasure. Now, this belief still exists. So you've now got the money, you've now got the house, you've now got the team members, you've now got the holiday, but you still believe you're a failure. So your identity is built, so your successful identity, that thing that you value, which is success, is built on the external. So there's two problems with this. Is number one, you'll never feel fulfilled, because for as long as this belief exists, this doesn't matter. You can have as much as this, you'll keep chasing more money, you'll want a bigger house, you'll want more team members, you'll want this, you'll want more of that, you want more, because you are running away from the pain of this belief that already exists within you internally. Now, problem is with this is, what happens if this gets taken away from you? What happens if the external gets taken away from you? What happens? This. And this is why identity crisis, and I'm going to do another video on this, are so painful. I've done a video on identity crisis, but I think drawing it out would be quite cool. They're so painful because it brings up all the beliefs that you've been running away from. Oh, that's meant to say not good enough, for example, or whatever it is. Yeah, I'm average, I'm nothing, I'm a nobody, I'm not special. Those beliefs drive you to achieve success. Now, the set of behaviours that you do when you feel like a failure are what? You work harder. Yeah, you work harder because working hard makes you feel successful. Now, when you feel successful, you are aligning with your value of success. However, the problem is that feeling only comes when you work hard. So what happens when you take a day off? You fear that you'll lose it all, because this belief is being triggered. Yeah, because you're not behaving in a way that aligns with your value of success and the identity that you want to become, which is working hard, which is why the reason why people feel so anxious. So they get anxiety or panic or whatever that horrible emotion is. I say horrible because we know how it feels. It feels horrible. When you take a day off, because you have to work hard to earn these things to prove that you're not this. So when you're not working, that fear comes in, and that fear is this belief being triggered. Remember what I said before, I'm a failure is the belief. That will create thoughts of I'll lose it all. That will create feelings of anxiety, and that will drive you to work harder. Yeah. So you have to work, you have to physically work in order to not feel like a failure, which is a big problem, because then you have things like burnout, you have things like you can never take a day off, you feel unfulfilled because you're always chasing, So let's just say that a day off triggers this, or like losing a client or whatever, it triggers this belief, yeah? And then you're stuck in this cycle, and you'll have this cycle for the rest of your life, because no matter the external, and we know this, no matter how much money you have, no matter, you can still feel like a failure or feel unsuccessful or not good enough or behind or average or unlovable or whatever your belief is. So how do we solve this? Is, remember what I said at the start, your qualities, your identity don't match your value. So you value success, but you don't identify underneath the external as someone who is successful. Okay, so what happens when we match the identity, so who you believe you are, remember those beliefs that I said at the start, your identity equals what you value, yeah? So if we can change your beliefs, if we can break that belief to I'm a failure to I am successful as a belief, yeah, no matter the external. If you believe you are successful, you'll be able to take a day off and feel good, because you don't need the working hard, the external, to feel successful. You believe you are successful, and you have the external success. So you have the internal, which is I'm successful, yeah, which means you don't need this to feel successful. You still have it, you still want it, but now you feel successful without this. And that's where you feel fulfilled, in taking a day off. So people who, have success, they can't even enjoy traveling or having the holiday, which is something that they wanted, maybe freedom is something they value because that belief gets triggered. So if you believe you're successful, then you'd be able to enjoy your holiday a lot more. Now I want to do another one. So basically what I'm trying to say is that you want to shift your identity to having those beliefs. So your beliefs are the same as you value. So if you value success, then if you can believe you are successful at the same time and truly believe it without the external, then your identity equals your value, and that is when you are most aligned, and that's when you'll see incredible progress, and you'll feel good at the same time. Now, I want to do one more. Let's just say that your value is freedom, but you have a big belief. You have a fixer identity. So you have a fixer identity, which means that you believe no one can do it as good as me, which drives your need for excessive control. Now, what do you notice? What two words in this diagram are in conflict? This and that. You want freedom, but you also want control. And this conflict in values will keep you feeling very stuck. So the control, I could imagine, would be the primary one for you because it'll be stronger, because again, you're running away from this belief. You want freedom, you value freedom, but your identity is as a fixer. So these are misaligned. So you have a belief that no one could do it as good as me. So again, that'll create thoughts of why aren't they doing it right? You'll then feel anxious. You'll feel like you need to jump in and have control. And then you'll go in and micromanage and control everything and do everything. And it will leave you feeling attached, very attached to, let's just say, your business, for example. You could have control on anything. I'm just using it as business because I know a lot of business owners watch this, but it could be anything. Okay. So again, when you shift this belief, you can let go of control, you can feel freedom. And when you live in accordance to your values, so let's just say that your value is freedom and success, oh my God, how happy are you going to be? Yeah, how happy are you going to be? So you have to shift these beliefs that are keeping this identity. This doesn't mean that you can't help people and you can't manage people and stuff, but it's not coming from a place of fear and insecurity, yeah, which is keeping you feeling this control and keeping you feel anxious, which means that you can't ever experience true freedom. And another one is just, let's just say that your value is fun. You value fun. One of my values is fun. But let's just say that you believe you're boring. Now, remember, we don't act in a misalignment to what we believe, or we try to act. If you believe you're boring, you won't try to act fun, because that is what we call cognitive dissonance, which is the uncomfortable feeling when you act in misalignment to who you believe you are. And this is why identity crisis is so painful, because you have a cognitive dissonance. The way you see yourself is different to the way that you are acting. So you won't do fun things because that's not who you are. So you won't ever experience that true feeling of fun because you believe you're boring. And even if you try and do fun things, you might not find it fun, yeah? Because you believe you're boring. And these people who have this belief that I'm boring will sound very monotone. They probably wear the same thing every day. Their voices won't go up and down, like, hi guys, yeah, so today we're gonna da-da-da-da-da. Like you'll just be like, so this belief means that this is going to be the yeah, that's what they'll sound like. So you sound monotone because you believe you're boring. So you're going to act subconsciously in a way that aligns with this belief. So that is the end of my explanation. My camera has just died, so I'm just going to finish the video off on my phone. That is the end of explanation. So the main thing to take away from this is the minute you can shift your beliefs, so who you believe you are at an identity level that matches what you value, the minute you are aligned, and the minute everything will feel easier because you act in accordance to what you believe about yourself. So let's just say that if you believe you're a fun person, having fun will feel easy because it's an extension of who you are. You'll see that blank space as a time to have fun. And therefore, when you value fun, you can then act in alignment with that value. Does that make sense? If you have any questions, please drop them down below. If you have any video recommendations or explanation videos you want to go through, then drop those down below and I will see you in the next video.